Hi, today we're going to talk about simplifying expressions. So first we started with the bell work, solve this equation. Our goal is to get x by itself. So first we get rid of the number that is not directly attached to x, and that's the 36. It's a positive 36, so subtract 36 on both sides of the equal sign. That becomes a negative 54 minus 36. Then divide both sides by 2, because there's an invisible multiplication here, so we have to divide by 2 on both sides to get your answer. Okay, the next one, this is exponent rules, which we learned in the last unit. When we have multiplication, we can just add the exponents and we get y to the power of 10. Then the last one is distribute, which we learned last year in 7th grade, and we're going to practice more today. 4 times z is 4z. 4 times a positive 5 is a positive 20. So that was our bell work. Then we turn to page 26 in the notebook and write down the goal. I can simplify expressions. So first, distribute. You would write this down under the distribute part of the notebook. Distribute kind of means multiply. Specifically, it means multiply what is outside the parentheses times each term inside the parentheses. So 5 times x is 5x. 5 times a minus 2 is minus 10. And there we did distribute, so make sure you write down that example. Combine like terms. That's adding or subtracting terms that have the same variables or exponents. So I like to use different shapes to help me know how to combine like terms. So for example, I could put a box around anything with a y. We have to include the sign in front of whatever our coefficient is. So this has a y, that does not have a y. This has a y. We have to include the sign in front of it because that tells us if we add or subtract. Now I'm going to use a different shape. I'll use like an oval. I include the sign in front of it and the sign in front. Now I can combine my like terms. 3y, now I know to do minus. Minus 7y, 3 minus 7 is negative 4y. A positive 2 plus a 4 is a positive 6. So my final answer would be negative 4y plus 6. Or it would be just fine to do 6 minus 4y because the 6 is still positive and the 4 is still negative. That's combining like terms. So examples, these are in the notebook. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times a positive 2 is a positive 6. Now sometimes you might see something like this. That's okay, the rule is still the same. Multiply the thing that is outside the parentheses times each term inside the parentheses. So 4 times a minus x is a minus 4x. 4 times a positive 5 is a positive 20. Now we could have written it like this. The 20 is positive, the 4x is negative. Or we could have written negative 4x and positive 20 like this. Both are correct. Now we can combine some like terms. I will put a box around anything with an A and the sign as well. Okay, 4a minus 7a is a negative 3a. I'll put my oval around anything that's just a plain old number. A positive 3 plus a 2 is a positive 5. So negative 3a plus 5. Or we could do 5 minus 3a because the 5 is still positive and the 3 is still negative. All right, 3b minus 5b, that's a negative 2b. And then this plus 4 has nothing to combine with, so we just write plus 4 at the end. Or again, we could have switched it. It could be 4 minus 2b because the 4 is still positive and the 2 is still negative. Then you would do page 26 with your team. Okay? If you want to look at how to solve those, then just go onto Canvas and look at the notebook. It shows you the answers there. Then we got up around and are doing some whiteboards where you all get to practice while doing the whiteboards. So you would have written this down and then, or you would have maybe simplified it in your head. Some of you might be able to do that, but I'll show you here. Ooh, we got a tricky one to start off with. These both have an A. 3a, and then it just says minus a. Well, there's an invisible 1 right here, so it's really 3a minus 1a, which is 2a. And then a positive 2 plus an 8. 2 plus 8 gives us a positive 10. And we could have done it the opposite way. 10 plus 2a is also a great way to do it because they're both positive. Distribute 4 times b is 4b. 4 times a minus 3 is minus 12. Again, feel free to pause anytime you want to. Negative 5 times c is negative 5c. Now this next part is tricky. Negative 5 times a minus 6, well, that's really a negative times a negative, which is a positive. 5 times 6 is 30. Or we could write it as a positive 30 minus 5c like this, because 30 is still positive, 5 is still negative. Okay, now we're doing both. We're going to do some distribute and some combine like terms. 2 times d is 2d. 2 times a minus 3 is minus 6. I do not do 2 times 4 because 4 is not in the parentheses. So I can just write down plus 4. Now I've done the distribute. Next is combine like terms. Put a box around my d, but there's no other d's for it to combine with, so it's just 2d. And then I'll put my oval around my plain old numbers. A minus 6 or a negative 6 plus 4 becomes a minus 2 or a negative 2. Extend your thinking. Write an expression that can simplify to this. There are a lot of correct expressions. We could do something like 2x plus 2x plus 2. That would simplify to this. There's the bell. We could do something like x plus 1 plus 3x plus 1. We could do something like 10x plus 2 minus 6x. We could even do something like 2 parentheses x plus 1 close parentheses. This is not even everything. There are so many correct ways that you could simplify down to get 4x plus 2. But these are some examples. Okay, another one. Again, we could do something like negative y minus y, 3, 4, 5, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, or any combination, right? Negative y plus 4 minus 4y. We could even do, I don't know, we could do like 10y minus 15y plus 2 plus 2. There's so many different correct things you could do here. Working on Alex homework, and then exit ticket. Now, when you have something like this, do those parentheses first. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times a plus 1 is a positive 2. And now I'll go back and rewrite that 3 plus at the beginning, and now combine like terms. The 2x has nothing to combine with, so it's just 2x. We have a positive 3 and a positive 2 makes a positive 5. Okay, oh my goodness, even trickier. Negative 4 times y is a negative 4y. Negative 4 times a minus 5, that's a negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 5 is 20. The 2 is not in the parentheses. You do not multiply, you just write it down. And then we can simplify. The y has nothing to combine with, and then 20 plus 2 would be 22. Or some people like to write it backwards like this, as long as the 22 is positive and the 4 is negative. And then this last one, write an expression that can be simplified to 5z. As you saw, there are lots and lots of different correct answers there, as long as it correctly simplifies to 5z. That was simplifying expressions. You got this. Have a great day.